RAV4 2019. Let me do the auto scan. Okay, let me go to the control unit. So you can see the vehicle is running, but there is no check engine light, but there is maintenance required. There is maintenance lights on the vehicle, so you can see maintenance, engine maintenance required, and there is no check engine. So I'll scan it. It's not because the customer hasn't changed the oil, but I'll scan it and see if there is any other fault code in the system. So go to engine, and check the system and see. So go to troubleshoot code, then read the fault code in the system. So when you check the fault code in the system, it is reporting about the engine coolant bypass valve short to battery or open. So what I'll do now is, it's telling me it is short to battery or open. So what I'll do now is, first then I'll try and erase the fault code and see what I'll get. So let me shut off the car whilst the AC is work. Let me shut off the car and turn the key on so that I can be able to erase the fault code. So now I'm able to erase the fault code. Let me recycle the ignition and see if the fault will come up again. Okay, let me rescan the vehicle and let me start it. So now the vehicle is running, and let me read the fault code again. And the fault code is in. So what I'll do is, the engine coolant is connected to a fuse. So I'll check the fuse, which is, when I check the wiring diagram, which is fuse EFI1. So I'll check that fuse and see. And maybe I'll not check the fuse, because if it is a fuse issue, what it does is it connects to a lot of sensors. So I'll be getting fault code on different sensors, but now I'm getting fault code on this particular solenoid.
Communication module activation failed. Please make.
So what I'll do now is, now that I'm seeing only this fault code, I'll attack only that sensor. So I'll check the fuse though, but it's not necessary when you want to be quick on your job. So I'll check the fuse, and what I'll try to do is the coolant bypass valve. Let me check the fuse. So this is the fuse. Let me turn off the engine and let only the. So this is the fuse box, and the fuse EF number 1 is 10 amps, and it's at this point. So this 10 amps, that's where the fuse is located. So what I'll do is, I'll test my test lamp. This is what I'm using for the test lamp for now. So I'll test it, and it's working, and I'll test that fuse first. So test the fuse, and the fuse is working, and this bulb takes almost 5 amps, so it's not going to blow any it's not going to blow the fuse. And this is the valve that we are talking about, the coolant bypass valve. So what I'll do now is, I'll take it out and measure the voltage on it, or test for my power if I'm getting power on it. So before I'll measure the voltage, let me test for my power first. And because the fuse is more than the amperage that my bulb draws, so I'm not going to blow the fuse, and I'm not going to use it to check the ground side. This sensor is ground controlled by the control unit. So let me test my. So when I test it, it turned on. That means everything is okay. So what I'll do now is, I'll measure the voltage and see if I'll get the bias voltage. That's what the vehicle used to identify. So now that means my power side is okay. So let me turn my multimeter on, and it is on. Let me measure if I'll get 12 volts. And I'm getting the battery voltage. So now that I'm getting the battery voltage, let me check the other pin if I'll get the bias voltage, which helps the vehicle to identify that the sensor is fitted or not. So I'll change my lead to power, and I am getting this voltage. This is the bias voltage, so I'm getting this 12 volts from the control unit. So what I'll do now is, now I don't know if it is stuck or close, but it's reporting it's having an issue. So what I'll do now is I'll plug it back and go to the vehicle and run the vehicle and turn it to the heat side and clear the fault code and see if it will stay on or it will go off. So if it stays, if the fault code goes off, then that means it is stuck open. So let me start the vehicle, then let me turn the AC to high. So let me turn it to high, and you can see the fault code that I'm getting. So I plug the sensor back and I'm getting this engine malfunction. So let me erase the fault code on my scan tool. Yes. So now that I've erased the fault code, let me scan it again whilst my heater is on high. So let me turn the vehicle off, start it again, so that I can know the condition of the sensor. So now it is still at high, and let me rescan it again and see if the fault code is gone. Yes, I'm not getting the fault code again, but the moment I switch it to low temperature, or the moment I switch the AC on, now the fault is going to come. So let me switch it high, and you see now that the fault is in because I switch it to low. So now that I switch it to low, let me scan it again, and you see the fault code is back. So that means the sensor is stuck open. So what I'll do is I'll speak to the customer about it, and we'll replace the sensor. So it's not a wiring issue, but rather it's a faulty solenoid sensor, faulty coolant bypass. So I'll speak to the customer about it, then we replace it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.